Keep our fingers crossed. Well, I love your story in medicine and as an author, and I want to begin our journey with 4 years ago, we were trying to figure out how long COVID was going to last, all the ramifications. How did you make it through it, and how did it change the way that you do things?
Well, my luck is actually like the sports. Good sports has followed me throughout my life, because all the sports down here in Florida. Same thing about COVID. I beat the COVID by about a month or two. I moved down here in 2019, so a lot of circumstances that brought me down here, but the timing was perfect. And I've been working from home anyway, so we can talk about the history of the book in a minute. But that's what did bring me to the book is going back to work as a radiologist. And I still do the same job that I've been since 2018 from home. I'm licensed in Michigan and Rhode Island and Massachusetts, but not in Florida, but I read remotely, which is telemedicine was actually invented by the radiologists. We've been doing telemedicine for, 30 to 40 years now. I've been in the business 35 years, but it's evolved quite a bit. I mean, when I first started my first job, I had this big clunker Sony Trinitron that I was hauling around that we plugged in as a fax line, and a 10 or 20 image head CT took 15 minutes to upload to read, and we did it by a fax, so, and now it's thousands of images in a matter of seconds, so it's changed quite a bit. So now I just do x-ray and ultrasound. I'm a neuroradiologist by trade. I've been very fortunate. I went to Tufts and University of Michigan for medical. I trained, I did a year at Boston University, Framingham Hospital for my internship, and then I did my radiology at Brown and my neuroradiology at Yale. So I've been a neuroradiologist since 1994. But basically, I'm a bat cave radiologist. I call myself with the COVID. So, and I was working on the book too. So really, and Florida opened up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The weather's good. People, I mean, until the New Yorkers started coming down here and because they were ill and they got tired of it. Of course, the real estate market picked up. But I was lucky. I'm alone at home, and the big night was going out Friday for the groceries and getting some takeout, Japanese or Chinese. And if you're lucky, they served you a cocktail while you're waiting. So
Yeah.
things opened up. The golf course opened up. And, I was arguing it's ridiculous that the swimming pool would be closed. You're not going to get COVID in a swimming pool when it's 90 degrees out. I mean, unless people are coughing on each other
Yeah.
on the, and that didn't happen. So I'm in a 55 and older community. And there's Mark Bogan down here is the county commissioner, and his mom lives in the community. And he would come around and do these talks about COVID and the law and what was going on locally. And I'd chime in about the medical part of it. So even though I'm not an internist, a lot of it's common sense. And obviously, COVID's still going on. I do encourage people to get vaccines, but I mean, that's been even my own doctor is not sure about whether I should get a vaccine now. I've had 4, so it's become very controversial. So not my level of expertise, but I did watch the Scott Gottlieb's out there. That guy was in the know. He was really, to me, he was the gold standard for information about COVID. So I just kind of listened to him, and common sense, wear the masks, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Living alone and working from home, my risk factors were pretty slim, but who knows if I ever got it. But the vaccine supposedly ameliorates the symptoms. So I've kind of been an advocate. I've always been a vaccine guy. So when it comes time for the pneumonia vaccine, I'll get it. The flu vaccine I get every year now. I didn't used to believe in that. I had a friend who had Guillain-Barré from it, lower extremity paralysis as a side effect. So very rare side effects. You get allergic reactions. But then they talk about herd immunity, and then they talk about not being effective because too many people are vaccinated, and then the virus can mutate. And so that's another issue. So a lot of discussion, very confusing.
Yeah.
It was tough on our former president too, all of us, but that kind of was his downfall. Is he didn't know how to handle a pandemic, and his doctor associates probably didn't either. I mean, none of us did. It was just so unexpected. So
Yeah.
anyway, so we reset. We were back to I'd like to say normal, I guess. I mean, things have opened up. I don't see a lot of masks around. Sometimes they show up. I'm heading to New York City in a couple of months for we have a Amsterdam Publishers. That's my publishing house. They're having a little soiree in the city, and I'll probably just get vaccinated by then. But I remember last time in the city, our cab drivers made us wear masks inside the cab. So
Yeah.
I get it. It can be a cesspool. That's a very, very crowded city. So I
Yeah.
understand.
So what did you want to be when you were a kid? What was your dream? Was it always medicine?
Since ninth grade, I'd say, yeah. My dad was a doctor. He was, I'll give you the punchline of my dad's story. He became an OBGYN, redid his residency at the Beth Israel, which is a Harvard affiliate, which I couldn't even get into in any specialty. So for a non-English speaking foreign medical grad, to get us a second residency at Harvard. He came to Detroit because that's where the jobs were, and there was nothing in Boston at the time. And he delivered 10,000 babies in a shortened career, in a 24-year career, which is amazing. That's redemption. That's what after all he went through, his parents, his friends, most of them were wiped out during the Holocaust. So it's a really nice redemption. You can never bring your parents back or your loved ones, unfortunately, but it is a nice form of redemption. He never showed any sign of post-traumatic stress disorder. My mom neither. They were both Holocaust educators. They were educators in general, well-rounded people in general. But his love for medicine, and then once I took ninth grade biology and started learning about anatomy and physiology, I was hooked. So it's all I really wanted to be. Point guard for the Detroit Pistons, wide receiver for the Lions, sports announcer, that kind of thing. Those are always, even a DJ, that would be fantastic, fantastic job, a fantastic side hustle. But the reality is, I had more brain than brawn, even though I played all the sports, and that was my love. So I didn't like OBGYN like my dad, that specialty. And there are other specialties I wasn't crazy about, like pediatrics. It just wasn't for me. But I do like the neural sciences, and I liked anatomy. And so radiology was a perfect fit for me. So ever since ninth grade, I tried to get into ophthalmology too when I was in medical school. Very difficult. I want to be maybe a neuro-ophthalmologist, which is a subspecialty as well. Very difficult to get in at the time, very competitive. But I'm happy with neuroradiology. You can't change things at some point, and I'm not going to go back and have regrets. So definitely contributed to society. So yeah, medicine is all I kind of knew. That's all I really wanted to do. And it's the opposite end of the spectrum now after 35 years. This book was a nice little vector, a nice little pivot to do something different, which is one message I love to give to the listeners is if you're bored with your life, if you're tired, go to part-time, retire, write a book, write a play, go see a movie, write a movie, that kind of thing. Go travel, do something different, spend more time with your family, volunteer work, give back to the community. That's what I can't stress enough is one lesson that I learned from working on this project for 6 years. So it's been a fantastic run. And I'm also paying back to my parents, because if you don't have good parents, if you don't have good family, you really have nothing. So this is my tribute to my parents, legacy to the family. I'm the only child of only children, so I'm the only one left. And here we go. So the book is our baby, and it's back and recirculating, and hopefully for many years to come. A lot of messages.
So give me a synopsis of the book to get a taste for everybody out there to get it.
Okay. Well, it's called Not a Real Enemy. May I show the book?
Yeah. Oh, please.
Yeah. So it's called Not a Real Enemy. Hopefully that's showing up pretty well.
Yeah.
The true story of a Hungarian Jewish man's fight for freedom. That's not an optical illusion. That's actually won 4 awards, which I still don't know what to do with that. I mean, excuse me, I owe a lot of that to my co-author, Janice Harper. She's a professional writer. She's fantastic. She turned this book into something special. I can talk about more of that in a minute. Yeah, it's an adventure. It's a biography about my dad. It's a history book that covers Hungary from World War I to the end of the Hungarian Revolution in '56, after which my parents escaped. That was my dad's 4th escape. So that's another little clicker in the book, is that my dad survived 4 escapes, 2 from Nazi Hungary while he was in forced labor camp, while his parents were taken away to Auschwitz. So he never knew their whereabouts for months until after the war was over. My dad hid in many places, not knowing where to run, not knowing where to hide. Lots of twists and turns in the book. The people who thought would be your friends turned out to be your enemies. The people who thought would be your enemies turned out to be your friends. So 2 forced labor camp escapes with his friend Frank. And then once is a medical student, finally he got into medical school. It was very difficult for Jewish people to go to school at all, let alone medical school. But they were so short of doctors in Hungary after World War II that they had a quota, and they let 10% of the medical school classes be Jewish students. So my dad got to go back. He escaped. He had enough of the communists now, who were really no better to the Jews than the Nazis, short of corralling them into town squares and shoving them into trains and killing them. But the rights weren't there. The civil rights weren't there, especially immediately after the war. And as the hardliners slowly came in and were not willing to give up their territory, and not just in Hungary, we know Poland and Czechoslovakia and on and on. And finally, in '56, after my mom and dad had enough, it was 2 wars. The Hungarian Revolution, the Hungarians got butchered. 3,000 people died in that war. It was about 2.5, 3-week war, and many injured, many refugees. And my mom and dad were frontliners in that war. My dad had to double down as a trauma surgeon besides his OBGYN duties. So he was working 24/7 for about 2.5 weeks. Mom was a med student a few months away from graduating, and she ran the blood bank during the Hungarian Revolution. So, and the one corner about this book is a lot of people don't know about the history of Hungary, including myself. I mean, everybody knows about London and Normandy and Pearl Harbor and the death marches in the Far East in Okinawa, and we know about Japan, of course, Germany, but not a lot about Hungary and Poland, Lithuania. So my little corner of it is the history of Hungary through my dad's eyes, his biography, and it's a different twist because so many people taken to Auschwitz and for death camps. But my dad, being young and male, was helpful. He was useful, so they took him to a slave labor camp and where they did very, very tedious, arduous chores. I mean, digging holes for landmines while being urinated on by the guards, that kind of thing, in the freezing cold, trying to move train lorries, ridiculously frozen and rusty, and then just being assigned work projects that were totally meaningless. They had to build runways for airports, that kind of thing. And in some cases were shelled by Russian planes. And these men were unarmed. They had these silly hats they had to wear, these yellow gold bands, armbands. For the average person, they were wearing, the gold star, the Star of David. But for the forced laborers, they were identified. But they didn't trust them so they were put in the paramilitary. They didn't trust them to fight for their own country. So they were put into slave labor. So, and sad stories about even those shellings, so the planes going over the men, and months of suffering for these guys and starving. They didn't know where the next meal was coming from. And even when they escaped, it was so harrowing. They escaped because we talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. There was no light at the end of the tunnel. You don't know where you're going. You don't know where you are. You don't know if you're in Austria. You don't know if you're in Hungary. You don't know where your next meal is coming from, where you're going to be sleeping, or if you're ever going to be able to work again. And if you get caught by the wrong people, you're doing this all over again, or in some cases, killed immediately. So very, very tough times for these people. And here we are 80, 100 years later. And I didn't think I'd have to be selling this fight against racism and anti-Semitism, but it's back. I mean, it's they fueled the fire, and it's my uphill slope has gone from here to like there. But that's what I'm doing. That's my new charge. And if you knew me 6 years ago, you'd say this guy would never be doing this. I was my mom educated. I got a little bit of Holocaust burnout because she talked about it with my family and friends and this and that. Other Holocaust survivors. It was important to her. And I followed in, but there's a certain burnout with that too. But once my dad passed and my mom passed, I got the bug because I read my dad's autobiography. They wrote it in the 70s. They wrote it like the stories happened the previous day. And then I turned it into a biography 2018, 2 years after my mom passed, really busy after. And part of that was going back to work at the same time because I did retire for a year. And my friend in Michigan said, we're short radiologists. Can you help us a couple days a week? And I'm still doing that, but that's what brought me to the book. And here we are. I read the story again. And between cases, I turned my dad's autobiography into a biography. Didn't get very far with it. Then I found Janice, the co-author, and she redid the book and made it truly amazing, a really amazing story. So I owe her a lot of my success, the book, a lot of success, and hopefully more successful with time. I've been to a few Holocaust museums doing book signings and book presentations, Illinois, Washington, D.C. DC, it's such an honor just to get invited there. They've already invited me to go back a second time. I could do that every day, meeting kids and families, and they're in there asking about the book and the history and about genocide. It means to me that there's hope for this country. There's hope for people. We hear about the bad stuff, of course, but there are a lot of people that really care, and I'm grateful for that. So I'm going to the Long Island Holocaust Museum next year. I'm reaching out to a lot of them. It takes time, and I do it myself. I have no assistants. I could use two secretaries literally. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it's heartfelt, and it's my charge. So it's good stuff. And hopefully, if I convert one person a week, one person a month, somebody reads the book and they say, "Wow, this has really changed the way I'm looking at things." A lot of people do that, and that's what makes my day. So I guess that's my motivation, because sometimes I get up in the morning and say, people don't care about this stuff. If it doesn't affect them, if it doesn't affect them, then people are less apt to get involved with it or interested in it. So, and it's a business too. So it's entertainment. It's a serious book, of course. It's got serious subject matter, and there's no sugarcoating. But it's a competitive business entertainment. You got Netflix, you've got Hulu, you got people that want to play golf, go to concerts, ball games, Wimbledon, whatever. There's so many forms of entertainment that you've got to step forward and say, why do you want to read this book instead of other Holocaust books, for example, which I would never want to encourage somebody to do that. I'd rather have somebody not read mine and read 10 Holocaust books than read mine in lieu of 10, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it's just too important a subject matter too. And Amsterdam Publishers, she's very selective. So I'm fortunate to be part of that group. And the other authors that she's accepted they write fantastic books, different viewpoints of not only the Holocaust, like ours is, includes the communists
Yeah.
and includes forced labor camps. Some people it's about Auschwitz. Some people it's about music. Some people it's about dancing. Some people it's foodie topics. So but it's miracles and many survivor stories that are truly amazing.
So let me ask you this: of all of the things that you've accomplished in your life in medicine and with this book, what are you the proudest of?
It would have to be this. I always get asked. Do you have any other books in mind? And I do. I have 3 other books in the back of my head. One of them would be part 2 of my dad's story, which isn't as harrowing, but the book ends in Vienna, Austria. But we could take him from Vienna into the 70s when he wrote the story. So that would be one. And then the things they don't teach in med school will be part autobiography, part class, part the lessons, part great stories about medicine, part sad stories or time, talk about wasted time, talk about burnout, talk about insurances, things like that. I think people have written books like that, but it's so unique. I mean, if you write your own story, investing, malpractice insurance, partnership tracks. There's so many little subjects to talk about that kids in college or even med school don't know yet. So those kind of things would be it'd be part comedy, part serious, part educational, and part autobiography. So that's in the back of my head. But even if I did that, and the last one would be how to invest in a bear market. I'm no CNBC expert, but I've been following stocks and investments for 30 years. And I guarantee I know more about investing and money management than probably 98% of people in this country. So that could be a good book, which investing for dummies or something like that. And my book would be how to invest in a bear market, because we've survived quite a few of them. Anyway, all that said, this by far would be the most important project, even if I did for a road. And I'm not a writer by trade. I'm a doctor. So
Yeah.
I've saved a couple of lives. I've found, I've found things on images that very happy. It's gratifying, but I'm also paid for that. I'm compensated for that. So I gave somebody a contrast reaction from an IVP. So I could have killed her, and then I saved her too, because we gave her the treatment to get her out of it. So nothing scarier than an anaphylactic reaction in the office or in a place where you don't have a lot of help. There's nothing scarier than that. So I've helped a few people out in that category, and so yeah, I'm proud of that. But giving back to the community is what people should be the most proud of. Being unselfish, being part of a team, don't be stagnant. Do something different. And I've already said that before, but move your life forward. Do something to help others.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. All of your patients, family, friends, everyone that reads your book, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm getting to be an old man. I'll tell you that. I'm a happy guy. I mean, I love people. I'm selective about my friends because as you get older, there's trust. Trust is trust, and there's a lot of people out there trying to rob and steal, and I'm talking that down. I mean, I'm just trying to be a person who's trying to encourage people to live a normal life. I hate the word normal because who's to say what's normal, but a life that's contributing to something. And try to be happy. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just try to keep a good attitude, emulate to be like my dad was, where my mom and dad had the super fantastic attitude, and that gets you a long way. Have a big heart, have an open mind, which I do. Listen to the news, but listen to different viewpoints. It's okay to argue. It's not okay to kill. It's not okay to hate. It's not okay to hate. It's not a case to trespass on my territory, because and what I'm writing is not about Gaza, but it's the same idea. It's about anti-Semitism, and it's just being recirculated in a different way, and that is so ugly, and I'm seeing that recirculated all the time on social media, and unfortunately I'm following it because it's part of what I'm doing right now, but no, please let's be more cohesive as a society, and I guess that's my charge here is that's me. I mean, and like I said, if you knew me 5-6 years ago, you'd say 5-6 years ago, my interests were more, sports and music. You're a jazz guy. I do love jazz. I do love music. I'm seeing Herbie Hancock in a couple of months. I
Oh,
love that.
wow. Cool.
I've seen Jean-Luc. Yeah, he's coming down here. Saw Pat Metheny again solo, which was a great show. Just saw Gino Vanelli again. Big Earth, Wind, and Fire fan. Santana,
Yep.
Jeff Beck, rest in peace. We can go on and on.
Yeah.
But that's me. It's still me, actually. I do love music. Been to about 350 concerts. If that, a lot of rock, a lot of jazz, a lot of fusion. My college days brought me more to jazz because I was getting really tired of just the rock from the 80s and 90s. Although I do like bands that I now like Pearl Jam and Fish, who I'm going to go see in Michigan now in a couple of weeks, which I'm so excited about. And I picked up a book presentation in Michigan too that week, so that's really cool. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so that's a win-win. So many great shows that are out there. Just got back from Doobie Brothers, 50 years.
Yep.
You see, we're writing a book and marketing a book is so hard. And I can't imagine being a band. Like I think about Greta Van Fleet, the Led Zeppelin wannabe, bands like the Doobie Brothers sticking around for 50 years, or any band that Led Zeppelin, whoever. It's so hard just to do it by yourself, let alone talk about album covers and tours and sales and marketing and a good trustworthy manager, and just getting guys to show up, for a rehearsal, for practice, even sober in some cases. So, and it's just me. So I can't imagine, or running an opera or theater that having a whole troupe that you have to take care of. It's
Yeah.
hard enough just doing it on my own for one little thing. So, but it's a learning curve. It's great. I mean, it opens your mind up to a lot of different things, and I guess that's the bottom. Have an open mind.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You said that there was something with your co-author that happened with the development of this book, maybe movie, was there something going on?
No, she okay, so when I finished the book in 2000, I finished the book right before I moved down here. So 2019, spent about a year trying to, not even quite a year, but trying to query agents and publishers. We're ready to self-publish. But before that, I showed the book to a couple of beta readers. One was Elisa Tenner, who became a friend, another author in Rhode Island, a Jewish lady, and she knew the Janice Harper. And she said, why don't you have, she said, show her the book and see what she thinks. And Janice said, the book's great if you just want to share it with family and friends, because it was a really boring biography. It was point A to B to C. Dad was born on, dad did this. She changed it into, she changed the chapters so that things are in and out of order, parallel stories, converging stories, letters to and from home, conversations, really turned it into something special. She's an anthropologist by trade. She's also a Michigan connection. She was at Michigan State. She's out in Washington State now. But she really made the book something special. And she, part of the agreement, and it took her a year and change, and she looked up the history and the culture, the food, the pronunciation of words. She really did her homework. And then we queried a handful of publishers and agents that might be the most interested in this book, and she really vetted it out pretty well. And bottom of the ninth, shoestring catch, we got Amsterdam Publishers. It was our last one before we were going to self-publish, and we ran with it. So pretty lucky, but a lot of skill, and it's trial and error, because the first couple of years it was tough. The book is still just a piece of, it's on a screen, it's on a disc. I'm circulating around, just trying to find interest. It was really, really tough. So later on, you can be more selective, and it's serendipity. You're gonna run into people that are trying to rob from you every day. But I'm also finding people now that are genuinely interested in the subject, and will help me, like people like you, spread the word about an important topic that just became so much more important in the last year, which is so ridiculous, but it is what it is. So
Yeah. So if anyone wants to pick up the book, they want to reach out to you, any of the good business in your world, where do they go?
okay, the book is Not a Real Enemy: The True Story of a Hungarian Jewish Man's Fight for Freedom. If you Google Not a Real Enemy, or if you Google Robert J. Wolfe, MD, I've had help with that, the SEO business. So so I'm at the top of the list. So you could do it that way. I've got a YouTube channel, Not a Real Enemy, or you just Robert J. Wolfe, MD. I'm on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. It's at Robert J. Wolfe. I'm also on X, Twitter. It's Twitter, X, and Robert J. Wolfe, MD. Meta, Rob Wolfe. I'm maxed out there, but I do have a Meta author page, Not a Real Enemy, if you Google that. What else? Instagram. Busy. You got a website that's called robertjwolfemd.com. I'll give you my phone number if you find me, if you're going to talk about the book, or my email address too. I'm happy to share all that, but it's out there. It's on my website. But Not a Real Enemy by Robert J. Wolfe, MD, you'll find me. social media. The book's on sale at Amazon. That's the easiest way to go. Ebook, or we've got a hardback and a paperback. Audiobook is going to be out imminently. We just finished up the audiobook, which I'm proud to say. We could have done that sooner, I suppose, but we're so busy with everything else. So that will be available soon. The book's also on sale at Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Tufts University, my alma mater, and at least 4 Holocaust museums now. The one in DC, the one in Illinois, which we had a great presentation there last year, the one in Long Island, and the one in Michigan, the Zeckelman Museum, Zeckelman Center in Michigan. It's on sale there as well. So I've been working with them. Maybe I'll get a project with them, my home state, hopefully someday. They're busy too. They just did renovation. A lot of these places are renovating. I'm sure a lot of them are paying for extra security, and no doubt about it. Very scary stuff right now. But yeah, so the book's available a lot of places. Amazon is the easiest. Find me, find a book, share with me with the book. Reviews are welcome. More podcasts, presentations. I can't fight anti-Semitism myself. I need help from my Judeo-Christian population and even the Muslim population. I have a lot of Muslim friends, by the way. I'm rambling like Trump, I think, but I've got a lot of Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Asian friends, and like my parents, I reach out to these people. I engage, I learn about their cultures rather than shun them or avoid. It's nice to learn about other people. Down here, we've got a lot of Haitians, Jamaicans, New Yorkers, and I'm warming up to all of them. I mean, it's people are people. Unless you're trying to run me off the road, you got a good chance that we could like each other if we just, give me a 2-minute conversation. And
Absolutely.
well, you do what you can, but people should be friendlier to each other. People should open up, and the hatred will go away slowly, I think. But
yeah,
some people you'll never change. But if we can just bring the team of the 98, 99% of us together to coalesce, I think the world will be a lot better. It's always the one guy who ruins it for everyone. It's the one guy, the Osama bin Laden, it's the Hitlers, unfortunately. So
I know, absolutely. This has been wonderful, Robert. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Keep doing the wonderful work out in the world, man. It's making a huge difference.
I appreciate you, Joe. Thanks, and I look forward to. Please stay in touch with me. I'd love to hear more about your radio station, the jazz.
Yes,
and,
sir.
If I'm in the Kansas City area, and if you're ever down in Lauderdale, please give me a shout. I owe you at least a lunch.
100%. I would love to. Yes.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you,
God
sir.
bless.
Take care.
Thank you.